I listened to the president speak today. He is so funny. He's very, very happy right now, and he's just feels like he can. He's on top of the world, and of course, he lives in a fantasy, or he speaks the fantasy, and he lies, as we all know. He kept repeating, how the previous election was rigged, but this election was too big to rig, he says. And he also kept repeating the war in Ukraine would never have happened if he'd have been president, which is, it's just totally made up. Even if he had, and he's never offered any reason. One other thing, I think, what did he say? Something about, if Putin hadn't been kicked out of the G8, he wouldn't have invaded Ukraine. I don't know. It's all made up. I think one reason they kicked him out is that they don't have a big enough economy, I think. But anyway, he just goes on and on. Just everything he says is just made up or a complete lie. He's going to cut the military budget by half, which is hilarious because he's been telling NATO nations to increase. Now he's saying about 5%. They were supposed to do 2.5%, I believe, of GDP. Now he's saying they need to do 5% of GDP. But the USA is going to cut their military by half. Another thing and I've been kind of researching this and trying to figure out because usually there's some, I was going to say usually there's some number that's accurate, but I don't know why I would say that. He just makes everything up. But he said I thought I heard him say, I should look it up, but I thought I heard him say he got 34% more of the youth vote than Harris, which if he got 64% and Harris got 30%, that would be, he would get 34% more. That would be and that's about 100%. But I thought that's what he said. I think he said it twice or 3 times. Well, anyway, I looked up the actual, and he got 47% compared to Harris 51%. That's what I'm seeing here. That's for the youngest. This is for the youngest. This is 30 to 34, which is basically the same number. 45 to 64 is where he increases his lead, and 65 plus. He didn't do quite as well. I think the old people maybe know that Social Security is in trouble. Actually, I'm a little surprised at this. 65 plus, he only got 51% of that vote. That's kind of surprising, really. But he makes stuff up. I'm going to look that up right now. I'll bet this is what he was talking about. It says 46% of young people voted for Trump. Okay, so it's less than half, which is about what I was reading. And it says up from 36% in 2020. No, that's not really what he said. Because I thought he said 34% more. I'll have to keep looking. I can't find it. I think nobody's paying any attention to that. It just doesn't matter what he says anymore. I just thought of another funny thing he said. I'm in a hurry. But he said, I have to pick up my daughter. But he said, they said, sir, have you done any calculations? Or are you going to ask somebody, to calculate the effect of your tariffs? And he said, no, there's nothing to calculate. I think that's pretty funny. So something else the president talked about, or they asked him about. So Mitch McConnell didn't vote for RFK because Mitch McConnell survived polio. And which means, that I don't know what it means, to be honest with you. I do know guys that got polio. I assume he got it and didn't have too bad of a result. FDR had it, and he had a bad result. And I had some friends near my age in Oklahoma. I had one. Anyway, the president said, "I don't know that Mitch McConnell had polio." And they said, what do you mean by that? He says, "I just don't know that he had polio." And, that's the kind of thing he says, which it kind of has no meaning, but it does have a meaning. It does have a meaning. It's just generally, well, he just went on to trash Mitch McConnell every which way but sideways. But if he liked Mitch McConnell, I'm still not sure if he would say, well, yeah, he's a survivor of polio. That wouldn't be a good topic for him. I really don't understand the story behind this, so I'm not going to say anything except it's at Mar-a-Lago. And it rather reminds people of the golden calf of Exodus. But of course, it's not a calf, it's a goat, and it's not gold, and it's covered with Trump dollars, which are worthless. Anyway, the other thing I was thinking about was it started to happen that we don't pay attention to what he says anymore, except if there's an implication of, due to his presidential power, he might do something. So, for instance, he says the 2020 election was rigged and nobody cares. He says he's going to cut the military budget in half. Nobody cares. He says he won the election with 34% of the youth vote, or whatever it was. He said, whatever he said, I'm sure it was wrong. Nobody cares. They care about the tariffs. And what else were they asking him about? Oh, Ukraine. But just the general stuff he said. Oh, another thing, he blasted Mitch McConnell, who's, an elder statesman. Nobody cares. He doesn't know that Mitch McConnell battled polio in his youth. Nobody cares. What else did they ask about? I can't remember. But anyway, the point is, you get it.